Hello everyone and welcome to the Can-Am Spyder. This three-wheeled motorcycle is something that you've likely seen on the road before. This is an incredibly popular product, and the three-wheeled motorcycle that the Spyder is certainly targeted to a specific audience. And for the 2020 model year, there was quite a significant style refresh for this product, allowing another opportunity for more people to check out this product that might be more up to the standards of the rest of the motorcycling industry. Now, I am saying three-wheeled motorcycle as in Canada. That is the legal definition of the Spyder. It might be classified as a autocycle or a tricycle depending on where in the world you're watching this, but here in Canada, unless you live in the province of Quebec and do a 7-hour educational course and bring your motorcycling helmet, you're allowed to ride one of these things. For the rest of Canada, just a normal motorcycling license will do. For the Spyder, there's only one way to set up its powertrain. It's a 1330 inline 3-cylinder engine. It produces 115 horsepower and 96 pound-feet of torque in a stately manner, with a 6-speed semi-automatic transmission, and the power is sent from that transmission to the single rear wheel through a belt, and you have one brake pedal that brakes all three wheels simultaneously, provided by Brembo, and the stopping power of this motorcycle is pretty good. Now, it is a very strange experience being on this Spyder if you've never been on any three-wheeled motorcycle before, but as I've already spent some time with the Ryker, some of the learning curve that I would have faced towards this product was kind of already pushed aside after living with that Ryker for a week. And for this product, with a totally different price point and with a lot more features, is a very different vehicle to the Ryker. It is really prioritizing two riders in a grand touring circumstance. There's a fair amount of technology that I'll go through later in the video, but the setup for comfort for you and a passenger on this Spyder is really quite amazing. You look at this wide seat here and think of the comfiest bar stool you've ever sat on. That's what it's like here on the Spyder. You've got these huge floorboards, which are basically the sizes of skateboards, so you've got plenty of space to move about, to either stretch out your hips or your legs. And the individual that would sit back here is more than just a passenger. They do have a fair amount of features in this product too. For example, you've got a heated seat and heated grips here on the side. You can control the volume and entertainment features with this knob on the right hand side, and of course the driver has the exact same features too, plus the ability to move this windshield up and down. I'm 6'4" and sitting in a comfortable slacked position. I would say that I'm just looking over the perspex here, and if I were to sit straight up, I can certainly look over it. And there's a couple of cutouts here in the glass which send a little bit of airflow towards you, so if you had an open-faced helmet, you would still get a fair amount of wind in your face. But at no point when riding this product does it feel like the wind coming towards you has any real effect on you. You'll see that there's these clear plastic, almost dive planes along the front of the Spyder, and you can option them to be movable so that you can get a little more airflow towards your legs or not. Mostly when you're sitting down behind the handlebars, you're getting a little bit of airflow maybe on your feet and your ankles, but not much more than that. There's two pieces of technology that I hope will find their way onto the Spyder in the very near future, and both of them largely pertain to the key. So as you see, we've got a very traditional key, and there's no keyless start, no remote locking feature, and at a price point that this Spyder is going for, comparing it directly to its two-wheeled motorcycle rivals, you would see keyless start and central locking through the button on the key fob, and that's something, especially the central locking, that I'd like to see on this product, just so you have that additional confidence when you're walking away that anything that you're storing anywhere on this product is going to be hidden away safely. So there's a few insights for you when it comes to the Spyder, but let's get this thing on the road and actually see what it's like with an open stretch of tarmac. All right, so getting onto the Spyder, first of all, you've got a little bit of a startup procedure, and in case for some reason it hasn't been explained to you, you hit the mode button, then the parking brake button, make sure the kill switch is in the right position, then hit start, and you'll be either in reverse, neutral, or first, whatever you parked the vehicle in, and then you're ready to go. So a couple of other things that need to be explained about the chassis of the Spyder. Outside of the powertrain, you have power steering in this product, so it does feel quite lightweight and removes a lot of vibration from the road. With that, you're able to really maneuver this 1,022 pound dry weight Spyder really without thinking. You know, obviously we're going to need a reverse gear in a product like this. There's no way you're going to be able to move it back and forth on a slightly inclined driveway. So with a lot of vibration taken out of the handlebars, and that was one of the things that I felt the Ryker really needed improvement on, was just general refinement. Being behind the handlebars of the Spyder is incredibly relaxing. Now, I said the transmission is a semi-automatic. What does that mean? That means that if I brake or if I slow down at all, the gear shifts will downshift via the computer, but upshifting is all on me. I am responsible to take this motorcycle from first to sixth gear and all of the other stops along the way. Now, if you treat this product the same way that I treated the transmission on the dual clutch Hondas I've recently tested out, you will find them disappointing because there is a noticeable clunk every time that you get into each gear, up or down. But the mistake that I've been making is that I still have the throttle open. So if I go off throttle and shift gear, that transition, that cog swapping is so much more refined. It's obviously how Spyders are meant to shift. See just how dramatic I'm being here with my right hand twisting up the throttle up and down. This is how this motorcycle is meant to be ridden. Of course, if you do shift gears with the throttle engaged, it's not that jerky, but it's going to seem like it is going to seem like a system that requires a little more polish. But all the polish that it needs is your adaptation to the riding dynamics. Now, being a three-wheeled motorcycle, as I mentioned in my Ryker review, it is quite strange when you see an imperfection on the road because you have to choose which wheel you want to hit it with. But the suspension system in this Spyder is quite phenomenal. We're using an air spring setup, and that means that whenever I'm hitting the worst of the worst on the road, the Spyder takes all of the punishment and doesn't transmit really anything to me. Again, we do have a very supportive seat, and there's a little bit of a backrest built in so that my tailbone and, you know, the base of my hips feel supported. But where you see this slot in the passenger seat is where you could slide in an additional backrest if that's something that you require to really have a lean back driving feel. So with all the weight of the Spyder and its significant width, it is quite an imposing vehicle on the road, but it rarely feels unmanageable. The brake feel is pretty good. Even if you stomp on it, you'll feel maybe the back end step out, but it's very manageable, never scary. And you have quite a far push and pull on the handlebars. You'll see here that in its full lock, it is jamming into my thighs. So if you're doing some really slow speed maneuvers in a really tight parking spot, I'm sure that will be appreciated, and you're not going to be exerting that much effort anyways because, like I said, it's a power steering system. Now, the Spyder Limited is built in with lots of storage. We've got a front cavity which could be enough for a small briefcase, and then for the 3 sections in the rear, on the left hand side it's not quite enough to fit a full-size helmet, but on the right hand side it is. And Can-Am tells me that for the top box you could fit 2 helmets in there. It does look a little bit tight for 2 full face. Perhaps they were referring to 2 open face helmets, but still, if you are doing what the Can-Am is built for, which is long distance cruising, and it's only safe to assume that if you're doing long distance cruising, you're bringing a lot of stuff with you, this motorcycle will accommodate you, your passenger, and all of the things that the pair of you bring along. Now, saying all of this, is it a good product? Yes, I am impressed behind the handlebars. I do think it is far better built than the Riker. The refinement is pretty good. The heat spill from this engine is pretty minimal. I'm actually wearing shorts right now because it is such a hot day out, and I'm feeling nothing from the engine. Even though the engine is far from inspiring, it is pretty well capped. You can hear the clattering of it, I'm sure, but there's no odd vibration feel around my knees, in the seat, in my feet. That really has surprised me in this product, but I do see the Spyder more as a tool as opposed to a toy. The goal and the mission of something like this is to have two-up grand touring with an incredible amount of stability and safety, and I can get behind that argument in a second. I've ridden some very heavy two-wheeled motorcycles that I would panic if I had a passenger on the back and I suddenly hit some kind of rush hour traffic and I have to work that clutch feel for an extended period of time just to move a few feet forward. In this, you really don't have to think about it at low speed, and then when you're at high speed, you've got something like cruise control, something like the 6 external speakers, and make the Spyder feel very plush when you're cruising at highway speeds. But where I'm getting at this is that it very much does feel like a tool. It feels like an appliance. I can't really see many people falling in love with this. I don't feel like people are going to be impassioned by a product like this. And honestly, this is no bad thing. I'm not saying this is a turn-off of the product. It does its job well, but you don't really fall in love with your toaster, no matter how good it is at making toast in the morning. So that's where I'd like to conclude my thoughts with the Spyder. It is undoubtedly a good product for the people that are looking to purchase one. And in this three-wheeled motorcycle space, you know, you've got more competition. You're now looking at Harley's trikes, which are more, I suppose, passionate products with their much more interesting engines and perhaps a little more heritage on their side, but you can't beat the stability of two wheels up front and one on the rear. So if you're looking at the Spyder, it is a vehicle that I would recommend you go out and test riding and taking home. If you buy into the pitch and the mission statement of the Spyder, this Can-Am is a great product for you, and I think will really treat you well. So that's been everything for me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.